Many dream of being a full-time influencer, but is it really as glamorous as it looks?
This week, we speak to Alex about the reality of building an audience of over 500,000 people and why now he chooses to spend his time behind the camera instead of in front of it.
So, aside from how hilarious you are, which I think I'm your number one fan.
Oh, thank you. You're probably the only one that's still watching.
That's can't be true, because you've got over 90,000 followers on Instagram and 445,000 TikTok followers.
Yes.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, it is. I mean, what the platforms don't tell you is that I used to have 120,000 Instagram followers. And I used to have 500 and something thousand TikTok followers.
Wow. Well,
how mad is that? That's a lot of people hating.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
Good. I think I probably would have historically felt crap about it. Like when I think back to when I was building the following and how much hustle it was and how much grind it was and relentless and the things I sacrificed and the arguments I had with my wife about things and all of that stuff, I probably would be like, I'm so gutted. But looking back at it now, it's just like, nothing, I guess. And I'm far more happy mentally now than I was when I was in that moment. Yeah. I think. Yeah. It's a crazy world.
Living for the kind of likes and...
Yeah. Well, it wasn't so much like the like... it's hard to explain.
I can't imagine, because I actually don't understand. I can imagine. I mean, I can conceptually think about it, but I can't.
Yeah. So I started... My career started at Unilad, the Facebook page, back in the day. Yeah. I left university, joined Unilad, and at the time it was like Facebook was the thing, and like we was just spending time making viral Facebook videos. So I used to do like work there during the day, and then at home, and whilst I was in that creative environment, think of something to make, like a sketch, and go home and make it. And I used to do that relentlessly and put it out on my own profile, my own Facebook page. And then that grew and grew and grew and grew, and I was going viral quite regularly.
Did you quickly learn what things worked and what didn't?
Yeah,
I did, but it changes all the time.
Really?
Which is one of the hardest things I think about being a creator starting now, because lots of people want to be, whereas back then no one was. Yeah. Right? You had the YouTube gang, which was like Zoella and stuff, all doing their thing, and then you had like these Facebook creators that were either pranking each other and going viral and just setting up like fake pranks or doing what I was doing, which was like making some sketch content and relatable things. Then you had like all the normal stuff going viral, like mannequin challenges and stuff.
Oh my
Throwback. ALS Ice Bucket Challenge.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So you had all of those things. But now if you set out, you've got very limited options in how to grow, I'd say.
Yeah.
Quickly.
I mean, when you started out doing your own content, was it an intention that you would build a following with the view to that being like what you did? Or was it kind of a side thing at that point?
I'd love to be like, it was so organic and like a passion project, but it wasn't. Like I was working at Unilad and we were making a fortune as a company, and the two founders of that, I was like, how do I do that? I was the one driving a lot of their views and following and the content I was creating for them as part of their team. So how do I apply that to myself on a much more minimal scale? Yeah. And that's why I started and doing it. And my wife, I've been with my wife since then, which is crazy. This was like 2015. I started doing that. Wow. And she was just like, go for it. I think you can do it. Go for it. I mean, she regrets that now. I think, but,
but what is the, I'm so oblivious to this whole world. Like, what is the difference between doing it in the context of Unilad, a huge company that's making a load of money, and, you know, being a person making videos at home, doing it alone?
So I think where a lot of people struggle, where the difference between a good individual creator and one that will struggle, like myself, I struggle, is creativity on your own. I feed off others to get my creativity and other situations and scenarios. But if you're an individual creator, like take a YouTuber, for example, that's doing weekly, daily vlogs or whatever, you've got to stay creative. Yeah. And unless you're going outside to find that creativity, it quickly becomes stagnant and you'll start to struggle. So, I found that environment of working in a team of production people, producers, creatives, also like people that were just curating content online, always with our ear to the trends and the ground. And we were doing 1 billion views a week
Wow.
then
Wow.
at Unilad,
That's
which was
crazy.
great. And we had every brand under the sun, and we were like all 21.
Yeah.
Our CEO was 19 at
Wow.
the time.
Wow.
So he was just playing FIFA.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And being in that environment and then going home and being like, right, I've got this really good idea and I've spoken to X person. And then I'd send it to them and be like, how would you improve this? They'd give me feedback and I'd edit it. Like, I was very lucky to be in that world. Otherwise, I don't think I'd be able to be as creative as I was then.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like I reinvented the wheel creatively.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'd be like, oh, when your partner's too clingy video.
Yeah.
And I'd like go around London and they'd just be like clinging to me on the tube. In Sainsbury's, just like physically clinging to me. And it was kind of like Mr. Bean type style stuff, but it worked, particularly with the Bangladeshi audience, interestingly.
Really?
Yeah, like, so by the end of my Facebook career, I had like 400,000 Facebook followers.
Yeah.
And they were 80% Bangladeshi, which made brand deals very difficult.
Not a
They'd be like, can you send your insights? I'd be like, shit.
Any idea what the appeal was?
Oh, I don't know. I think it was a Mr. Bean thing.
Yeah, maybe.
It was a Mr. Bean thing. I was being very expressive and like overly comedic in my actions. And I think they just loved that vibe.
One thing I'd love to ask you is, just because obviously with yourself and also with so many other content creators that you've worked with, do you find that once creators are monetizing their platform and it's, you know, that is bringing them a lot, if not all of their income, that creativity dips? Or do you think actually having that pressure to bring in the money and make the great content actually like helps creativity?
I think that's a really difficult question because you, as a creator and even in the industry I work in now, you have to walk a weird line between getting the brand messaging across if you are being paid for the content and being creative and authentic to you and your audience that you've built. A lot of them miss the mark on that. And I feel that it's very easy to be like, flipping out £10,000, like that's a lot of cash, right? And then if somebody's paying me to make a video or a few videos, £10,000 for some of these bigger creators, I'll just do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And then you start getting in that vicious cycle of just always doing that. And you're like, okay, cool, I can just do brand deal after brand deal after brand deal, earn so much cash. And then you realize 2, 3, 6 months down the line that your following's dwindling, your engagement rates are off, and then those brand deals that are coming to you then are less and then you start this whole cycle again, right? And then you go back, you go, oh no, I'm sorry about that, guys. Blah, blah, you reinvent yourself, you get the following again, and then the money comes in and you suffer.
Vicious cycle.
That's what I find. That's what I used to do anyway. And I think a lot of my colleagues and peers in the industry probably can relate.
Yeah.
And the ones that stand out are the ones that don't let it happen to them. The best people like probably one of the best creators. I mean, he's controversial now, but at the time, David Dobrik, right? He was this huge YouTuber and he never once turned monetization on his videos.
Wow.
Really?
He would just put like little subtle sponsorships in and get paid to do it. And he became this huge creator because he just didn't care about, I need to make people watch until 5 seconds in to get my ad read and all this stuff. He just went for it. And then the other end of the spectrum, you've got people that are like literally making content as ads.
Yeah.
And just probably struggling
Yeah.
creatively and obviously viewership and engagement and performance and stuff.
And like you say, it's more short-lived.
Yeah, it's really short-lived.
I mean, you mentioned there about when your Facebook career ended, you had kind of 400,000 followers there. Why was that ending? Was that because of the emergence of other platforms and you started to move on to your Instagram, I'm guessing, or eventually to TikTok? Or was it that you just kind of had enough of Facebook?
So at the time, it was Facebook was, do you remember? I'm not sure whether this is like a population-wide message that got sent out there, but for people in the media industry, it was Facebook is now moving to like a friends and family platform. I'm not sure whether you remember that period.
Yeah,
I don't remember getting the message, although it certainly was obvious nevertheless.
Yeah. So they changed their whole situation, which was, I think, one of their worst business decisions. They've since tried to redeem themselves on it, but they made it so that like your auntie's birthday was prioritized over like the viral content, which is fine, it's cool, but most of the creators were like, look, I'm out. Yeah, I'll go and focus on Instagram or TikTok later on that. I think though it was maybe like a 2017 thing, so just before TikTok changed from Musical.ly to TikTok. It was a difficult period as a creator on Facebook because the YouTubers were still killing it.
Yeah.
The Instagram models were killing it. And us like little cringy creators, as we're often called on Facebook, where we were struggling.
And were you at that point where they decided to do that, making decent money on Facebook?
No money at all, except for the brand deals.
Okay.
Except for brand deals. Instagram was always the GOAT for brand deals.
Yeah.
I think YouTube was always great for ad revenue.
Yeah.
For the ads that are native to the platform. Instagram, you just get paid loads for a picture.
Yeah.
Like, sweet.
I mean, we have seen how, the extent to which influencers are and creators are at the mercy of the algorithms, and we are not in control of those. I mean, I know even people who have businesses and their Instagram profile is their shop front, it's their marketplace essentially, and it can get shut down. But regardless, just with the algorithm and how it can change, what would you say to someone, a content creator starting out now? Do you think they should pick one specific platform and put their everything to it, and then if they need to pivot? Do you think they need to diversify across all platforms just to be on the safe side? How do you navigate that?
So always go for the newest platform, right?
Really?
That's my number one rule. Always be an early adopter. Even TikTok now is still infant compared to others. I know it's been around for years now. So TikTok currently is the number one driver of organic growth across all platforms. It's the only platform that's giving the creators the airtime they deserve to grow with content. The other platforms have gone through that phase, and it's probably like a 5-6 year period where they go through a phase, everyone gets big on it, and then they start going, hang on a minute, we could be earning money here to get people to access their following and get views. So we're going to start charging them for those views, and that's where paid social comes in really heavily. TikTok still quite, they're getting there, but they're not there. So you can jump onto TikTok and within a month have 100,000 followers. You can't do that on any other platform. So always start there. And then TikTok's very clever, and we're very fortunate that they've got like easily accessible links to your other platforms through either just click on the Instagram logo, or you can attach your YouTube and embed that really easily, so you can get a trickle across effect to the other platforms. But the biggest creators I'd say that have emerged in the last kind of 2 years have all been TikTok first, and then followed up.
And just taking TikTok as an example, would you say there's a tipping point? It's like you need to get the first X thousand followers and then it sort of snowballs from there, or does it not work like that?
There is kind of like a point where you've made so many videos that at some point there's a point where if you get 3, 4, 5, 6 viral videos, they will go through these cycles and these like waves of suddenly going viral again and suddenly getting loads of views again, and your following just keeps trickling up no matter what you're uploading now. That's kind of what happened to me. I think there's no like point of just like super virality where you just go, because you always have to create content. As soon as you take your foot off the gas, you'll start to struggle. So I think consistency is probably the most key thing, because no matter what happens, your chances, if you make 100 videos, you're way more likely to go viral than if you make 10.
Yeah.
Right? And just keep going, and then look at the videos that are doing well or have done well, even if it's 300 views versus 100.
Yeah.
And then make more of them.
In my case, it would be like 30 versus 10.
There you go.
Yeah, you've got to start somewhere.
Triple the engagement on that video. You've got to think of it that way.
I think what is so interesting though about you and your decisions is that, there are plenty of people that have much smaller followings that are full-time content creators, and yet you have chosen not to be a full-time content creator. So I guess the first question is why?
Interesting. I was at one point. I had that time. It was fun. A lot of time sitting at home.
Yeah.
Then you just get an email with somebody offering you loads of money to just make a 1-minute video, like pretty chilling. But so my story is that in 2018, I went on a television show called The Circle. And that television show was a reality show in the UK, which was highly produced, highly edited, highly manipulated. And I was basically locked away for 4 weeks 6 weeks total in a flat in, I was going to say some shithole, but a place. I won't say the name of the place now, just in case it really offends someone.
You can Google it if you want to find out.
It was, yeah, you can Google where the first series of The Circle was. But I was stuck there, right, locked away in the peak height of summer, being manipulated by producers on TV all day on my own. And we would just, there's like a voice in, and this is going to sound like I'm losing, like I'm having a breakdown. There's a voice in the ceiling. Right.
Oh, dear.
And they would be like, morning. And because I was playing a different character on the show, I was pretending to be my wife. They'd call me Kate relentlessly and stuff. Anyway, this whole experience was so harrowing that after that, I was like, I'm okay not being in front of camera anymore. Like, I'm done. Nothing's as it seems. Everything's highly edited. I need to stop living this like weird fake life that of like showing people like, hey guys, how's it going? Because I was just like so done and depressed and drained. And I won the show, which was obviously amazing, and I came off that and I was getting off every offer under the sun. People paying me to just like turn up to like Oceana.
Really?
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? I was just like, this is so I just wasn't my vibe.
No.
So
But when you went on the show initially, when you like applied and went through that, was that because you wanted those opportunities?
So they came to Unilad. The show was based on social media. So they came to Unilad and they were like, would any of your employees like to come on this show as like a social media expert? And that your whole job is to be like the best influencer you can be and the most popular person on this social media platform, which is new, called The Circle. And I was like, yeah, I could do that with my eyes closed. And I did, which is great. But I didn't realize what I was in for. Do you know what I mean? I didn't realize there's things that happen, and I hope my like non-disclosures are expired. But there's things that's happened where you do things, say they're doing a vote for the day, and you're like, right, I'm going. And they'll be like, so today we've decided to vote off the second to last person and stuff like that. Just to keep because my storyline was the only one, I think, and one of the reasons that I won, because I was the only person that's being fake and like making people fall, like catfishing basically.
So it was good TV.
Great TV. And it's kind of now the basis of the show is that is like, find the catfish.
Yeah.
Watch the show.
And that wasn't that before. It was just like, when they pitched it to us, it was like, just be the best influencer. And I was like, well, women do better. I've always struggled up against my peers who are female.
Yeah.
And who are able to like show a bit of cleavage or whatever and get views.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck it, I'll just try that. And it was,
worked.
And my wife was like, well, do it, pretend to be me because you know who I am and you know everything about me. So I just channeled that character. And unfortunately, at some point I got so drained with it that I just started being me behind this face of a woman. And then all the guys loved it. And then I had to meet them at the end. It was very dramatic. But once I watched it back, I was like, shit.
Because you saw
I
how
see
it
this
had been
now.
edited.
Yeah, like I see it now. Because I was from a social and production background. I was like, this makes sense now. And everyone's like, Love Island scripted. It's not, but it's not real.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not scripted. They're just playing what's out in front of them and they're forcing situations to happen and coercing people. Yeah. In the script that's coming up in the producer's mind, which is how do I make the best TV without worrying about anyone's mental health?
And so from that point where you were like, you know what, I'm done.
Yeah.
Pay me any amount of money. I'm not going to
Yeah,
take
yeah.
to Oceana and all, like all.
I did
crap.
actually go to Oceana, but
Yeah, I probably would have done too.
How much do you get paid?
You wouldn't even have to pay me.
Oceana?
I mean,
I'd gone for a
for like a
tenner.
public, it depends. And this is one of the things that really messes people up on Love Island and all the other shows is because your value decreases along further away from the show you get, right? So you come off like a here.
Yeah.
And Circle was like not even top tier either. It was like mid, maybe low in terms of value of people.
Yeah.
So they came off and it was actually mainly like the people that were fans of the show and owned these clubs who were like, come on down guys, really want you down there. So they'd like put you up in a hotel, they pay you like £1,000 just to go to the night.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I'm getting paid to club and flirt. Like this is amazing.
Amazing, yeah.
And then it starts to tail off. And then there's suddenly like
Nothing.
a cliff.
Yeah.
And normally that cliff comes around when the second season comes, which is when people really struggle.
Yeah.
So when the series of Love Island comes around and there's all these new kids on the block,
Then
and
they're
everyone's
all
like, let's get these guys in, we need to send these brand deals. You're just like, right, is that my career over? A lot of people leave their careers to go on these shows.
Yeah. This is
Lawyers,
what's mad.
doctors, whatever.
Thinking they're going to make loads and loads of money like the OG Love Islanders did, like your Molly May.
Exactly, yeah.
And Like,
And there's amazing case studies, right? Molly May.
but not many when you
No.
actually look at the number
No.
of contestants there have been.
Yeah. What are they on season like 11, 12 now?
Yeah.
I couldn't name you 12 Love Islanders.
No.
Nor could I.
I could name you Dr. Alex, Molly May, Tommy Fury,
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Kem.
because of Molly May.
Remember that Kem guy?
Amber.
Chris Hughes, maybe.
Yeah.
Amber, we actually,
Yeah.
we spoke to her the other day in here, but yeah, there's loads of like,
Yeah.
so it's a point of diminishing returns, I think.
Gosh.
But what I want to know is once you got to that point of like, I'm done with this and I'm going to really like take my foot off the gas and take a step back. Once you kind of decide this isn't going to be my full-time thing, do you think there's a kind of, like, my question is, do you think you can return to it if you want? Because it feels to me like if you sort of drop off, then you're not going to be able to just return and
No.
go, guys, I'm back. Sorry
you
to
are,
be,
you
or
are.
are you? I don't know. Because, yeah, you've got 445,000 followers.
Yeah, it's really difficult. Once you take your foot off the gas, it's very hard to get the momentum again without coming at a different angle. So I'm very fortunate that I dropped off for like a year. I didn't make any content. And then I came back and it was like my wedding.
Wow.
And then I made like a couple of videos around that, just like editing stuff from the day and things like that.
And when you came back after a year, was everyone like, hey, great
Well,
time?
there's always like, I
What was the
post like the
response?
odd meme that I like. Or things.
Yeah.
The thing that I wish, honestly, I wish I could just go back to having like no following.
Really?
I think my life would be way more simple if I didn't have a following.
Really?
Because you don't,
Why
I don't,
not?
because I have pressure on my shoulders to be like this, and this kind of ties into the topic of your podcast, right? This is a revenue stream
Yeah.
that could make my life and my family's life a lot better. Why aren't I tapping into it? Because it's a point of difference I have to every other person my age doing my job. But I can't do it. I just can't. I don't know what it is. There's something as a blocker,
Yeah.
creative blocker. Whether it's because I'm at work all day being creative for brands and things. I think that might play into it.
Well, yeah, and I mean that's the kind of next part to it. So you decided you'd had enough, and then is that at the point when you were like, okay, I'm going to go back behind the camera?
Yeah. So at some point, as somewhere along my journey at Unilad, I was complimented quite heavily by lots of brands being like, I've never seen an ability to understand a brand's objectives and marketing and strategy and understand social and link them together through creative. So I was like, I've got a bit of a talent there and I'll park that. And then when I came off the show and I was like, I want to start something, I want to start a business and get into that, I just started doing it freelance and helping brands build organic social media channels. And I loved it and I was getting loads of success. And then TikTok came around and I was very fortunate that one of my best men and best friends was head of strategy at TikTok.
Amazing.
So when they changed from Musical.ly, he was just like, jump on this platform. Like, you're going to want to. There's a lot of
Yeah.
money knocking around here behind this. So it's not going to fail. And I was like, cool, I'll try it out. And I jumped on as one of the early adopters, which led me to that following. I mean, that following came in 3 months or something ridiculous
Wow.
on that platform of just constantly creating content in a space where there's no one,
Yeah.
no creators, because everyone's
Yeah.
still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
So you just swiped up there.
Yeah, so I was just like buzzing. And then, so I started helping brands do it.
Yeah.
And there was this thing, there's kind of, over the last few years, there's been this realization that influencers are, I wouldn't say dead in terms of what they can provide for brands, but they're very difficult to work with. They're not providing the return on investment, right? So if you spend £10,000 on influencer, the chance of you earning £10,000 as a brand is very low.
Yeah.
It's more of awareness play. And what I started to say to people is like, why don't you guys become
Your own.
the channel,
Yeah.
right? Why don't you invest that money into your own marketing channel that you can use anytime you want
Yeah.
for any campaign you want for free?
And how, in terms of, if I was to sit here and say I've got £10,000 now, how would you advise me to invest that cash? Is it like studio time? Is it like paid ads and stuff? Paid
I would
ads,
stay, yeah, I'd
sounds
stay away from paid. If just me generally, personally, I would spend £10,000 making content, whatever content you want.
What are the costs of making, like what are the actual?
Well, I don't actually have to be,
camera?
it depends.
Mic-
Yeah, I guess it doesn't have
Yeah.
to. Yeah, you can do it on your phone, I
The
guess.
problem
What
is
costs a
brands
lot?
lots of brands have egos.
Yeah.
Lots of brands are like, we can only be premium.
Okay.
So this
we
is
need to
when
be sat
the-
here with like a bottle of Laurent Perrier rosé.
Yeah, in like a really glossy place or whatever. So you need to find that middle ground, I think, between your brand identity
Yeah.
and what you like. The best brands are the ones on social currently are the ones that have gone stuff I don't even care.
Yeah, that are actually really
Ryanair,
organic.
Yeah.
right? Ryanair have just owned TikTok because they just started like taking the mick out themselves and doing things. Duolingo is another one.
Yeah.
There's loads of brands that have done it, and then the brands that struggle are the ones that are like premium, like Joe Malone, for example, that they've got these creative directors or whoever that are like, no, we couldn't possibly do that. They don't understand. But what they don't understand is that 40% of TikTok are over 40, right?
Wow.
No one's tapping into that. They're just going, it's a child platform. Yeah, it was in 2018 for
Not
2
now.
years.
Wow,
and then,
I'm so surprised by
yeah,
that.
so it changes rapidly. And what I would advise anyone to do is just invest in content creation, because you can always post it is easy. Invest in content creation, build up a bank of content so you've given yourself enough of a buffer so you don't feel the pressure to always be creating. Use that initial spurt you get to be really creative and make a load of stuff. And then just test it. And once you start to see a trend of what's working, what's not working, then start to make more and like just do it that way. But whatever you do, don't stop.
Yeah.
Stay consistent as a
Keep
brand.
going.
Yeah, just keep going. Even if it's just you posting, like, it doesn't matter what it is. Just find something to post, whether you're commenting on other people's stuff in terms of like stitching and duetting, or I'm just talking TikTok specifically here, but you can just find a way of making content. It should take 5 minutes if you need to. And then we personally here have like a 3-tiered approach of Hero Hub Hygiene. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of that.
No.
So hygiene content is content you can make easily and just every day. And you can think of a few ideas that you can make content that way. Hub is like taking that content to a bit of a next level. So it might be like the odd premium piece of content that you're making. You might spend a little bit more money on those ones. You might go out on the street and interview people. It's quite like creative and original. But then there's Hero, which is like once a quarter, do something mad. Invest, you know what I mean? That'd be like, and you'd probably take like 5k of that budget if you had 10k.
Go down a ski slope in a bikini or something
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go somewhere, do something and make it. But if you stick to those rules, like a 50, 30, 20% style thing, you'll be able to stay consistent and make content.
And I mean, do you think that is ultimately the number one piece of advice for anyone that is like, whether you're a creator or a brand and you want to grow, is that consistency?
Consistency, originality is quite key. The people that like think of the new things are always the ones that do well, but you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Yeah. Consistency, I'd say consistency, stay on trends and things and think about how you can maybe apply them to your own brand, because a lot of people don't know this. I'll probably get in trouble again, but TikTok send out emails to their creators, their top creators each week with the hashtags that are going to trend next week.
Wow.
So it's very kind of, structured in their
really,
approach. They know, right? They're either trying to make things happen. So if I send you an email saying, if you make content on a Mercedes next week, you're going to
go viral.
Go viral and get loads more followers. You're going to do it for free. Or like the little trends and things that they see coming up. So if you can align with trends as a brand in your own way, you can often game the system a bit. Yeah.
And now that you're helping other people build their following, having been through the process yourself of building such a huge following and having got to a point where you were completely drained and depressed, like you said, and just needed to take some time out, how do you encourage them to do it in a way that's, if you were to like start from 0 following today and perhaps build one in a more, do you think there's a sustainable way to do it?
Yeah, I think hopefully with us, the way we approach it is we want to understand our clients and brands, because we mainly work with brands. It's the odd individual as well. But if we can understand a brand's workflow and business, we can help them understand how to make it like an easily integratable part of their day-to-day. That we don't want it to be daunting.
Yeah.
And especially when you're already doing an Instagram, say if you come into a brand now, they've probably already got Instagram. They've probably already got Facebook, and they're doing LinkedIn or whatever. And you come in and go, right, you've got to make TikToks every day. They're gonna just be like, whoa! Like, we can barely even make one Instagram post with a carousel, right? So we have to help them understand on how to integrate it into their business, do it sustainably, and then keep your foot down to the pedal and come up with like a content plan, a content calendar. And I think the main part of the education is you don't have to do it now. You don't have to launch now. Take time, because putting a month buffer in and making 30 pieces of content is going to save you in a year's time when you're flat and you're struggling and you're like, oh, I don't know what to do. And you're like waiting for your rebrand and you're waiting for your new assets and your new logos. And that's going to save you. So that's probably I would say our biggest challenge as a collective that helps brands is making sure that they don't launch into something right now, because that's bad for everyone.
Yeah. You're kind of setting yourself up.
Yeah. Saying that, we've done it about 9 times.
Well, if the client wants it, the client gets on the
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
But thank you so much. This has been so great to chat to you, and you've just got such an interesting story and so much experience.
Thank you.
And we love working with you. We love
There you
recording.
go.
Say we are in your studio.
I know. Cool.
I mean, for
I haven't actually sat here before.
That chance phone call because I'd forgotten to book the other.
I know, that's crazy.
Yeah, that was a great story.
Yeah.
I forgot about
how we came to you, and you thought it was outrageous that I picked up the phone to you. Like, who was calling? Like,
I know, no one rings anymore except for Victoria.
Victoria's from Yorkshire. That's how we still do it.
I thought it was 02. I was like, hello?
Yeah.
You
were actually really standoffish at first, and then I was in my really friendly northern accent, and you were like, oh, hi. Like,
do you know?
all of a sudden you were warm.
I don't know how. So somehow my number ended up on Google.
Oh,
on the Google thing. Yeah, like someone, I don't know what. One of the
that's how
team.
I got you. I didn't stalk you. Or
Yeah. One of the team just put my number on like the under Flint Social on Google, and Victoria was the first number I ever first call, and I was so confused. I was like, how has this come through? Like, I don't know, but obviously I was very pleased, and it's great to work with you guys. Yeah.
Amazing. So, I mean, just in a 1-line, 2-line, what do you actually do for anybody that is listening and that has a brand and is interested? What does Flint Social do?
Sure. So Flint Social is a collective of experts in short form video. I would say it's probably our elevator pitch, and we help brands make organic content channels for social media.
Fab.
Amazing.
Yeah. Just email me.
Don't call me.
Yeah,
Pick up the phone.
don't pick up the phone, whatever you do.